everybody. Welcome to That's Peculiar. I'm Nathan.
I'm Andra.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Today we are getting into something crazy.
Crazy. All I know is that you told me that it's about one person-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of. I do have a fun fact for you today.
Oh, finally, a fun fact that you're ready with.
Yeah. The world's smallest mammal is a bumblebee bat, weighing in at 0.05 ounces to 0.07 ounces,
So how big does that make it?
a little over 1 inch. So like,
A bat?
it's a
That's
bat.
so cute.
And it's in the Guinness World Record as the smallest mammal, which is cool.
Huh. I
Yeah.
think it's weird that a platypus is still considered a mammal, considering that it lays eggs.
Do animals that lay eggs not mammals?
No, not usually. The platypus is one of the weirdest animals. They're also venomous. So,
They're venomous?
yes.
What?
I know. Platypus.
Where?
I there's barbs, like there's like barbs on their feet, I think, or something like that, and they can like. So yeah, I
Interesting.
know, and they can sense like electromagnetic fields with their nose. That's how they. That's how they hunt.
I always think of like Phineas and Ferb, and I feel like that whole time could have used venom. What that I don't think came up in that show. Maybe it did, but I don't remember being like, oh yeah, he has venomous feet.
Gotta be claws.
Yes.
Well, there you go. Good morning now.
Excuse my voice today because it's a little scratchy, and if I cough, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh
Being
mind.
sick is not fun.
Yeah. Well, welcome to fall.
Um, yeah, in school season. So today we have an interesting topic and possibly one that will continue to return in the future. So it might be like a little series we have going.
What?
Yes. This episode is something I like to call famously insane.
Famously insane.
Yep. So I'll talk about 1 to 2 people, depending on how much details I find on the person. And it could be famous people with crazy past, famous people with mental illness of sorts, and some with just like kooky bananas, wild stories.
But they're all related somehow.
What do you mean related?
Well, you said it would be multiple parts potentially. So I feel like that would make them need to be.
No, it'll just be like almost like a mini series or like a series within a series where we'll just talk about crazy
Oh,
stories of
okay.
famous people.
All right, I'm here for
Yeah.
it.
I'm thinking that this will be a super fun one, but we'll see.
The audience decide.
Yeah, 2 people.
What? Two people? We got 10 plays already, girl.
Yeah. Okay, today we are telling the tale of Veronica Lake. Have you heard of Veronica Lake?
No, but I knew a drag queen named Veronica Lakeside.
I wonder if it's a play on Veronica Lake at all.
I don't know. I will say that her character that she had was kind of crazy and weird. But yeah, she was Veronica Lakeside back when I lived in Chico, and yeah, that's the only that's as close as I get to Veronica Lake.
It's a fun name, Veronica Lakeside. Mm. Okay, so Veronica Lake was born November 14th, 1922.
I was born on November 10th.
Taking it back to old Hollywood with 1922.
Mm-hmm.
Veronica Lake was an actress
Of
known
course.
for, yeah, film, television, and stage work. Some of her most notable roles were I Married a Witch and Sullivan's Travels.
No
Okay,
bells.
if you have not seen I Married a Witch, you need to.
When
It's
did that
good.
come out?
1940s maybe.
Okay.
It's really good. I watched it on Amazon Prime
I was just
actually
gonna
a
ask
year
you,
ago.
where is it streaming was gonna be my next question.
It was streaming about a year ago, at least on Amazon Prime, but I thought it was such a quirky, like cool movie. It's about a normal guy who thinks he's marrying like just an average Joe woman, average Josephine, and she turns out to be a witch, and it's quirky, it's funny. But
Huh.
Jack actually came home in the middle of this movie, and he was like, "What is this?" But he remembers it, even though he came through like halfway. He remembers this movie. What's funny is I didn't know anything about Veronica Lake at all. So when I watched this, I wasn't like, remember this movie. So you're gonna look up Veronica Lake. And it's just I came across that and I was like, oh, that is her in that movie.
What a happy coincidence.
Her last film was a movie called Flesh Feast,
Ew.
which, yeah, I've not seen, but that name,
I don't
it's just, that name is just too good to not put in here.
I don't know if I want to watch that.
You don't want to watch Flesh Feast?
No, it's giving human caterpillar vibes.
Yeah. What's
It,
that?
it's
Serial
exact.
killer?
No, a human caterpillar. Could you can imagine if you sewed people together.
I think of people eating people. Flesh Feast.
Flesh beasts, I think of people eating people, but I was talking about the human caterpillar. It just sounds gross.
Jeffrey Dahmer. That's who I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah, no. I was thinking
It's
other
not
movies.
it's not that though. I actually describe it a little bit later, but
Mm,
it's not that.
it must
I
be
think
sexy.
I might actually watch it. I think it
Uh,
could be, I don't know. It's
all
almost
right.
Halloween. Veronica Lake was born Constance Frances Marie Okelman.
Of course she's gonna change her name.
I thought it was actually cute, Constance, which actually was also her mother's name.
Yeah, but she moved to Hollywood and became a starlet, and so you have to change your name.
Veronica Lake is super iconic. I think that's such a cute, like the name.
Yeah, I mean, the name yes, the name is very star powered.
Yeah. I mean, you remembered Veronica Lakeside.
I think we're still friends on Facebook.
Ooh. Um, are you drinking Coors? You're
Yeah.
drinking Coors and I'm drinking tea.
Well, some of us aren't doing sober September.
Yeah, it's almost the end. If you hear my slurping, I'm sorry. It's hot. Can you hear me? That's good. You can cut that out too. Um, so it is said that her mom is pushy and competitive. So Constance, number one.
Yeah.
Her mom also stated that she was diagnosed as a schizophrenic as a little girl, like Veronica Lake was. I
Wait,
didn't find
as a
much
little
in,
girl?
yeah,
How do
like
you
when she was young.
that has to be some intense schizophrenia.
That's what I was thinking. And I thought in general that was weird. But also when you look up the story of her, there's not really a whole lot of mention of her schizophrenia. So I'm like, was this mom just like, I don't know, not wanting her to be, I don't know, because she
Or did
enrolled her,
or did Veronica Lake take over?
maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. Um, Veronica was expelled from a school, Villa Maria. It's an all-girls Catholic school in Montreal. She
Not
was,
surprising.
yeah, she was considered difficult at a young age.
Schizophrenia will do that to a person.
Just the sheer willpower of not being in a girls' school. In 1938, she moved to Beverly Hills and was briefly contracted under MGM, where she enrolled in acting school. MGM actually paid for her acting school. She went to what was then known as the Bliss Hayden School of Acting, now known as the Beverly Hills Playhouse. I'm glad you laughed because when I read that, I was like, my notes say, okay, Beverly Hills Playhouse. sounds like it.
Whoa.
It sounds like it should be a bar or a playground.
Yes.
It's like, welcome to the Beverly Hills Playhouse.
Well, I feel like it would be like a place where people maybe I imagine burlesque or something because it's a I mean
Hmm.
I know it's like acting is good playhouses and shows, but like how do you go from school of acting to playhouse?
I don't know. I don't even know who decided to change the name. I
Their
know it
marketing
was
team
bought,
needs assistance.
maybe. They're actually the oldest acting, one of the oldest acting schools in LA.
Oh, they still exist today?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
If you're
they're,
listening and you are a part of Beverly Hills Playhouse, we should rework the name.
would you like help with a different name?
Something.
Um, they, so they're in LA, but she was in Beverly Hills. So they obviously are in Beverly Hills. They're also in San Francisco and New York still today.
Oh, they ain't changing their name.
Somehow Beverly Hills Playhouse is a hit in New York.
Well, to each their own.
Originally, Bliss and Hayden, the original name, was ran by Layla Bliss and her husband Harry Hayden.
Mm.
Leela Bliss is a well-known actress from like she's in Miracle on 34th Street
Oh, okay.
all the way to like Adam's Family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Hayden was less known and less credited, but he's in a lot of films. I did not personally recognize any that he's in.
I mean, it would have all been older, a lot before my time.
I know of a lot of these movies though, because my mom loves TMC Classic.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I
I
grew
never
up
got into
watching a
that.
lot of these. Really?
Yeah, I know it's weird. Like, I see kind of like clips here and there. And I'm like, maybe I should, like, watching old bloopers of old movies.
They're
I,
funny.
yes, and I feel like I would enjoy the movie after I watched a couple of the bloopers.
I think there's a certain skill in those type of movies that is missing from movies today.
Is it the
Like in
accent?
no, in I Married a Witch, it's it's just a classic story. It's basic. I think movies right now are over the top. But in this, it's like a basic story that is just like great on TV. They made it so good.
Man falls in
But
love with woman, woman's actually a witch. Hilarity ensues.
how can you make this? Yeah, seriously, it's good though. But like now, have you seen Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice?
No, don't tell me anything.
I won't tell you a single thing.
Thank you. You want to,
Okay.
though.
Badly. So badly.
Oh,
Veronica Lake, the name is due to actually a producer, Arthur Hornblow Jr.
that's a really
Yeah.
unfortunate last name.
Yeah, actually, but he never changes it, and he's actually a well-known. Okay, he had 4 Academy nominees for Best Picture, and some of his works included Gaslight and Hold
Oh,
Back the Dawn.
Gaslight.
Have you seen it?
No, but I know the story.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I never said that.
Gaslight is really good.
I never said
It's a what?
I'm gaslighting you.
I was like, what are you doing? I was gaslighted. So this could be your intro to like a TMC classic, though. So Gaslight was made in 1944.
Mhm.
It's a great movie, seriously. Um, and it obviously was nominated for Best Picture, but he's the producer of these movies. So
Okay.
he's not in them, he's the producer. Um, he gave her the name because her eyes are said to be navy blue, like a deep navy blue, and he thought it was like looking at the depths of the lake. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know anybody with navy blue eyes, do
I
you?
was trying to think. I only see like light blue
Yeah, mine
or
are almost white.
like a piercing kind of blue. Like, I mean, I have brown eyes.
You remember Miss Wood? She had like blue green eyes.
Yes, yes.
Her eyes are cool. Veronica, or sorry, Arthur Hornblow is responsible for Veronica Lake's first big break by casting her in I Want Wings. This was in 1941.
Okay.
She plays a cocktail waitress singer
Okay.
in it. The details of that isn't super important, but this is where she got her iconic hairstyle. She works at a bar. She has like this glam Hollywood hair, and she gets like her hair like fell in the movie and kind of like cast over one eye like that.
Okay.
And she had the old Hollywood curls. So like small curls. And this became her like iconic hairstyle. One little piece over the eye. And
Okay.
yeah, it's cute.
And they were like,
Very
"That's
cute.
Veronica Lake. That's what she does."
Yeah, that's her new hairstyle. Her career was very solid for a while, starring in many films like The Gun for Fire and The Glass Key, which I have not actually seen either of those, but The Glass Key is intriguing. She was deemed very difficult to work with. During these like films, she would fight with castmates. She had castmates actually quit on the job,
What?
and she didn't disclose that she was 6 months pregnant to one of her directors when they first cast her.
What?
Yeah.
But
That director actually had to be like restrained. Yeah.
okay. Question. We need
hmm
to talk about the schizophrenia then, because I feel like there's answers to be had if we talk about the schizophrenia.
There's not anything really
Besides,
about her schizophrenia.
besides just being difficult and fighting, that there's nothing.
Not too much that I found. It's just that her mom claimed she was schizophrenic.
Oh, her mom claimed she didn't actually get
Yeah.
diagnosed.
She claimed that she was diagnosed as a young gal as
Okay.
schizophrenic. So
Okay.
when you look her up, she pops up as a schizophrenic actress. But I
Okay.
didn't find a whole lot of information actually about that in her life.
Okay. I'm trying to think. There was one woman that she was an actress, and she she also had mental issues that she didn't disclose, but it really did. People looking back on her career were like, that makes so much sense that she acted the way she did because of her mental illness. That's the only thing that I don't remember who it was, and I don't think it was Veronica Lake though.
No, but there's a lot of people. There's somebody I read earlier while I was doing research because they compared the two, who they actually think she was autistic, but I don't remember who that was.
That
I've
she might
read so
she
many
had
names.
autism and she was still recording.
hmm
Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
there's the levels of autism are very functional to not so much. So you like I've
yeah,
worked with other flight attendants who have autism. So I don't know.
yeah. Michelangelo, I think, was actually thought to have been autistic. I haven't done a lot of work into that, but
I've never met a turtle with autism, so I mean that's interesting.
yeah.
But
I hope people get that joke. Uh, um, someone called her, or somebody actually said that she was known as a bitch and she earned the title.
literally was about to say that she was known as, and I almost said a bitch.
Yeah. So I thought that was so hilarious. They were like, she earned it.
She
Um,
earned every letter.
yeah. Everything turned south for her the hour in her role The Hour Before Dawn, where she played a spy with a very unconvincing accent. She was she was supposed to play a German spy, and people were not at all happy with the accent.
I love that.
Like, how did she even get cast then?
They're
Like,
like,
how do people not realize it's not just her? Like, at some point, it's the casting director's fault.
we realized that she can't actually do a German accent.
Mm-hmm.
They probably like
What
maybe they did halfway through and they were like, it's too late. We recorded and we can't afford more film.
what is strange about this also is when she decided to change her hairstyle.
The
So
what?
some people she thought because the war, it was like around the same time as the war,
Okay.
she just thought girls shouldn't be worrying with their hairstyle and should do more relaxed styles. And then so she didn't have her iconic hair that she's known for in this.
Okay.
After this poor review, she began drinking heavily, really bad. She returned to acting, though with a promising role after a brief stint. So she took a break
Of
and
alcoholism.
no, took a break for alcoholism and then came back. The Blue Dahlia, I have not seen this, but this was the promising role. Although with a couple of other successes, she was receiving mixed reviews. So the Blue Dahlia actually had good reviews on it. It was a pretty successful movie.
Okay.
And then she had a couple of other successes, but as a whole, people were not reviewing her well.
So so she was considered a good actress for a while and then
Mm-hmm.
she had her alcoholism
The
pause.
alcoholism came because of a poor film. That's
Oh,
everything I read. Because of a bad review The Hour Before Dawn,
drove her to
she
drink.
started drinking. But she also slipped and fell in that movie, which caused her to give birth to her child prematurely.
And this was the director that she didn't tell that she was 6 months pregnant.
Right. And she actually ended
Oh.
up losing that baby. So there's a lot
That
of
would drive
other,
me to drink too.
yeah, there's a lot of layers in there that people don't talk about. They're just like, oh, she was a heavy drinker and terrible to work with. But I mean,
Trauma.
that's, yeah, that is traumatic.
Okay, so now
Hmm.
I don't blame her so much anymore.
No, I don't either. So she took a
Currently.
break. She said she had to learn more about acting. That's what, like when she came back, she claimed she had to learn more about acting and take time because she was in roles she liked and some that she didn't like. So that's what she talks about mostly. But
How
everybody has noted her alcoholism.
but how old was she when she was pregnant and did that role?
The
Well,
Blue
she was
Dahlia,
born in you said 1924.
right, she passed away in her early 50s.
Oh, she was
So,
young.
yeah, so even in this time, she was probably in her 30s.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out like timeline as far as like because how long were you an alcoholic for before you landed this role? That whole thing.
Well, alcoholism continues throughout this story.
I figured once it's hard to
Yeah.
once you pop you can't stop.
Yeah. Well, some people do. Yeah, them.
Yay them. When people tell me that they're sober, I'm like, I wish.
Yeah. I don't drink enough. I love wine. I love
I don't
wine.
drink enough.
I have to take care of my baby. I can't drink as much as I like to.
Well, and you're doing sober September.
Right. Which is,
Right.
that's just for fun, not because of alcoholism. So she was in the Blue Dahlia, and I have not seen that movie. I don't know, but it was claimed to be a success. But because of the mixed reviews after these, um, things weren't going so well. And she and her second husband, Dos, they actually filed for bankruptcy and everything she owned was seized and taken from her, including her house for property taxes, unpaid.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's rough.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Then she was actually divorced a third time.
Oh my God.
And after this, she drifted from cheap hotels in New York. And
When did she
then,
move to New York?
so after her third divorce, she ended up moving back to New York.
Bad.
Hmm. So her life was really spent in, I mean, other than that part in Montreal where she was kicked out, she mainly spent time in like New York, Florida, and Beverly Hills.
Okay. Florida.
Those are like
Florida.
those are the main places. Yeah, she did end up going, I didn't talk about it, but she went to high school in Florida.
Okay.
That's where her stepdad, I think he was a seaman. That's actually where he was stationed for a while. So she went to school in Florida for a bit, and she actually returns that way later.
Okay.
Um, so she got divorced a third time, moved to New York, and then she started drifting in and out of like cheap hotels. Then she actually was working and living in the Martha Washington Hotel as a cocktail waitress,
Okay.
which is great. But she was discovered here by a writer of the New York Post. And you can actually look up this New York Post article. You do have to have a subscription for like something, but I think right now they're offering it's $1 subscription and you get a free tote with it. I was like, great, that's fine.
So you got a tote coming?
Um, maybe. I hope. If you said I would. Um, she claimed she was not poor and only took the job because she liked people. And after this story ran, her fans were sending her money, but she actually returned it all.
Oh.
Yeah. Some say it was pride that she returned it and she was actually poor. Other people thought of that as like a really good thing to do, that she returned all the money. Some people actually thought it like reinstated her career a little bit, is
Because she
because
sent
she
money.
sent all the money back. Yeah.
Besides, just to be like, I mean, never mind.
I've never been in the position of watching a famous person and being like, you need money more than I do.
That is valid because any person who I see who's like in the movies, I'm like, I wouldn't give you anything. You have 4
Right.
houses.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, she did file for bankruptcy and hers was taken.
Yeah, they did take everything away from her,
It
but
was a different time period, but I feel like with how Hollywood is today, because this is old Hollywood, it was a little less, I don't know. Actually, I was going to say a little less forgiving, but I'm
uh,
not so sure that people would agree with that.
I don't think Diddy would agree with you.
Who's Diddy?
What? Okay, you scared me for a second.
I gaslighted you.
Whew. I was like, how do you not know?
We don't talk about Diddy. Diddly squat.
Diddly.
Sorry. That's the last one.
Oh
Um,
God.
so when she was discovered here, that New York Post, they ran the article, people sent her money, she sent it back.
Well,
She,
pre-K pause again though. Like it discovered her, like just like he was like, oh hey, you're Veronica Lake and you're working here,
yeah.
or okay, like she was kind
Oh,
of like,
yeah. I was just also going to say something I found interesting is Martha Washington Hotel was an all women's hotel.
wait, men
I don't
can't
know
stay
why.
there
That's what I read, but it confused me. An all
because a
women's
man found
hotel.
her.
Well, it doesn't mean he was staying there. She worked as a cocktail
Well,
waitress.
I know that there were places that only women were allowed to stay, and it was to keep men from being men.
Right. So, well, she worked and
Like,
lived at one.
yeah, because like in Breakfast at Tiffany's, like she's staying in a place where only women are allowed to be, and men are not allowed to stay overnight or be there.
Well, for some reason in my mind, I thought she fell in love with like her neighbor,
Or
who was a man.
I don't pretty sure it's not. Now I have to watch Breakfast at Tiffany's again. You're having me second guess myself.
Me too. I love that movie. It's a good one.
It's good, but now I'm like, I don't want to misspoken, misspoke.
I do vaguely remember that men were not allowed to stay in her apartment,
Yeah, because
but for some reason I thought there was a man that lived next door to her.
well, the landlady I think lived downstairs from her, and she would yell over the side and be like, "No, there's not a man up here." That's not the accent that she had, but that's what she would say. And there was a man there,
Yeah.
old ass man, whole man,
Oh man.
whole man. Anyway,
Interesting. I
Washington.
just I found that to be very interesting, the Martha Washington Hotel, and one day I feel like I'm gonna want to do research on that.
I wonder if it's still
Mm,
around in some capacity, without being, of course, women only.
Maybe it could also be women only. I vote for women only hotels to come back.
Yeah, but you know what? You're gonna get a lot of sexism, is you know. So
Well, it's also scary walking in dark alleys with men around.
I don't like walking in dark alleys. Period. If anybody's
Period.
around,
Need people, yeah,
like I don't have to be a lady to feel unsafe in a dark alley.
in the dark. Period. I'm
Yeah,
afraid of the dark.
not
Uh,
just alleys,
just alleys, not regular dark.
just dark alleys.
Veronica ended up writing an autobiography called The Autobiography of Veronica Lake, which not
Ori-
really hard of that title.
Original.
I was actually like, come on. um, she wrote things and they're like, to hell with you, Hollywood.
Okay.
And then she also laughed off being considered a sex symbol, which this lady is gorgeous. If you look her up, she's so gorgeous, and people called her a sex symbol,
Sure.
but she laughed it off and said more like a sex zombie. Which I thought was hilarious. In my notes, I have, um, she was in a revival of A Streetcar Named Desire.
Okay.
And this actually also had really good reviews. People liked her acting. And I believe she went back to her signature hairstyle for this role. It might have possibly been for one role previous, but she had her signature hairstyle back.
People like that,
And then she was received well.
of
Okay.
course. Hmm. Hmm.
Because of the good reviews, she was paid well, and then she, with the autobiography money and then the Streetcar Named Desire money, she actually co-produced the low budget horror film Flesh Feast. So
Is horror. Like I was starting to think maybe Flesh Feast was like a feast of flesh. Like, oh, it's so carnal and love making kind of
I
feasting.
think it actually has like a Nazi fictional twist to it. And I imagine she's probably like, ooh, in it, but I'm gonna watch it.
Please, please do. And you just let me know how low budget it really is. They didn't have enough the budget for the CGI, I know that.
Genuinely, some low budget films are great though. Like especially horror films.
Okay, look, The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock,
I'm terrified of birds and I will not watch that movie.
very good. It's low budget, very good.
I'm thinking more of like, well, I don't know about An American Werewolf in London, if that's low budget, but it felt low budget to me. Watch people are like, that's so much money into it.
It felt
But
low budget.
it was good though. It's really good. It's just like two guys walking around in London. Like an old pub in London, and like it literally looks like they grabbed some locals, put them in the pub, and were like,
Ah,
start yelling at these men from America and hate them and tell them they can't stay here. And then
God.
they walk around. And have you ever seen American Werewolf in London? Oh my gosh, Nathan.
No.
Stop watching new age movies and turn to the old. They're so good. I love them.
Let me just get some Turner Classic Movie Channel and we'll be fine.
You can stream a lot of these.
I'm sure I can.
Okay.
Moving on.
In June 1973, she was discovered to have cirrhosis of the liver.
Alcoholism will do that to you.
Result of heavy, heavy drinking. Yep. June 26th, 1973, she was checked into University of Vermont Medical Center in Burlington. So, yep. She died there on July 7th, 1973. They had acute hepatitis and acute kidney injury.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Alcohol is bad for you. Also, this is a side note, but when did you start drinking Coors? I've never seen you drink Coors.
It's cheap, okay?
It's cheap, but like,
it's not bad.
We used to go to Grocery Outlet and try to find the lowest, coolest bottle of wine.
Yeah. I like alcohol, period.
No. Well, anyways. As per her wishes, huh?
It's been a couple years.
Since what?
Since you hung out last.
No, it's not the truth. We hung out at your grandma's funeral.
Actually, like, hung out regularly.
And if you want to cut any of this out, you totally can. For alcoholic tendencies. People don't need to know this about us.
What was the name of our old podcast that we never did?
Booze Clues.
There it is.
So as per Veronica's wishes, she was cremated and her ashes were spread off the coast of the Virgin Islands. Sorry.
Why the Virgin Islands?
Florida, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I gotta look it up. Sorry, guys.
We're so well researched on these.
We are United States territory. It's over kind of by there. But something I also read is that her ashes were scattered just outside of Florida.
Okay.
So when I read that, I didn't question the Virgin Islands too much. And then there's another one that actually says her ashes sat in the cremation location for a long time, and somebody had to pay $200 to get her ashes like sent to them. And then there's a story that her son picked it up.
I wonder which one's accurate.
Yeah, the story I read most is that a friend had them sent by with $200 they paid. Wow. But it had sat there for a long time. Her ashes just sat there. This is pertinent to the story. So pay attention to that. Her ashes just sat there.
They just sat there.
Veronica Lake had a lot of ups and downs in her life. And she had 4 kids she didn't really talk to. She had a drinking problem. She actually went from stardom to being a cocktail waitress, which I don't see a problem in it. People have said that she died penniless. And that's what they say of her. She died penniless and as a cocktail waitress.
Okay.
I don't really see it that way. She died still acting. She was in parts. like had plays and everything.
Yeah.
And she was also a cocktail waitress, but
I
I
feel
mean,
like you're
she did
leading up to
produce,
something.
sort of, she did produce a low budget horror film, but
She
she
did.
co-produced it.
But how well did
So
that movie do?
I don't know. I don't think it did well. That is, I did read actually, it wasn't a box hit.
It was called Flesh Feast.
Yeah. The title is, I'm
Murder
gonna
by
watch
Death.
it. I'm gonna watch it and then I'll give you an update in a
Please,
different podcast.
please do, because Flesh Feast is giving me Murder by Death vibes. So
Yeah. Except that's a band. So after Veronica Lake died, it is said that they found her ashes in a quirky New York antique store. That's why she's on here.
I
I
don't like.
read that and I was like, what?
I don't. When did they find them?
They found, or they claim, the antique store, it's a quirky antique store, claims they had a couple tablespoons of her ashes. And
Cables
the only reason, because most of her ashes were spread
in the Virgin
in
Islands.
Florida,
Okay.
the only reason why I think this could be possible is because her ashes just sat there
And you think someone just like walked in and went, "I want a couple of these for later"?
or sold them. Hey, this is Veronica Lake and her ashes. Let's send it to this antique store. Because the owner of this antique store happened to be a big fan of Veronica Lake.
So this was in the 70s that they found this in the antique store?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it was like around 1976, I believe.
Okay, so not like 2024, and here we are finding Veronica Lake's ashes in an antique store.
No, I do think it was several years after her death, though.
Okay.
So it could have been the 80s by this point.
Cool.
But they did do a homage. The store did a homage to the late actress, and they did a look-alike contest.
I'm gonna correct you real quick. It's homage. We're paying homage.
Homage.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, I guess you could say homage if you want to be fancy. You're being fancy.
That's just always how I've said it.
No problem.
Homage.
Ew.
Homage is
Ew.
it's spelled.
Age.
Homage. So there's no E, so it's just homage.
Homage.
Mm-hmm.
So they paid homage, and they did a lookalike contest.
Yes, and did a look-alike contest, and somebody there they received her ashes.
Oh, they did that as like a prize?
It was in there, whether it was for, like, they had to pay for it, but somebody got the ashes, and the guy is like, I don't know if they're real. He was like, these might be dog ashes. And he said he's going to give them to his son when he dies. And his son won't care because he doesn't even know who Veronica Lake is.
Here's some random ashes that may or may not be Veronica Lake. Congratulations.
All right. I wanted to look up that one little bit when it was posted. This was posted because I'm questioning. This says, okay, it's the trip down memory lane though. And it does say this was posted Sunday, July 14th, 2024.
Saying it was posted in 2024. I thought
It's a post about her ashes being found. So now I'm questioning when were her ashes found.
what? It could have been this year? Stop it.
No, because there's another article, New York Times. Yeah. Okay. So I did find this before. This is from 2004. But it was several years after her death that the ashes were found. And it's in a quirky antique store. It's called the Mystery Spot of, it's like New York or something. I have the full name here. But she was a big fan of Veronica Lake. It's the mystery spot in a place in New York. Phoenicia? I didn't do research on this, so but yeah, she thought she was brilliant, gorgeous, and talented. What do you say?
I was like, oh, okay. Brilliant, talented, and gorgeous.
Yeah. Veronica Lake was, yeah.
Yeah, Veronica Lake. Who do you think I was talking about?
I don't know. I think I got lost in translation there, but yeah. So that is the tale of Veronica Lake, and it's not as crazy and insane, but it's the very end that I was just like, what? You found her
So,
ashes in an antique store?
and then it also was kind of like, when was the schizophrenia gonna come out and play? And then it just she was difficult to work with, and she earned the title of bitch.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
And how do
The
you just end up? Someone's like, oh, she's been sitting here a while. I'm just gonna take a handful of ashes.
the authenticity of the
It's
ashes have been
questionable.
questioned.
Definitely
Yeah.
questionable
Somebody's
because,
like, are they just dog ashes?
or
Maybe.
it could be wood ashes. It could be any ashes. And if you don't have her DNA, like you really can't. Oh no.
Right. And I think the person that got them, everything I read, there's like, they don't care to do that. So,
No, I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to find out that I paid however much and they're fake.
yeah.
No,
But no one knows.
the
They
world will
could,
never
a
know.
random person could have some of Veronica Lake's ashes.
It's so weird.
Can you imagine living your whole life, then going to get cremated by your choice, saying, spread all of my ashes here, and then your
We're
ashes
missing
are
some.
found in an antique store?
If you went missing, we don't know.
Pieces of
That's
her ashes.
bizarre.
Yeah. But that also makes me wonder how many times has a person been cremated and then like accidentally dropped on like the floor or somewhere? Parking lot leaving, picking up the ashes, and then like,
We were
I dropped her.
we were trying to spread my aunt's ashes at one time, and like she wanted to go over like this mountainside by the ocean, and we went to spread them, and the wind decided to spin direction immediately and blow back on all of us. So we were just had a light dusting of Aunt Vicky.
That's probably your aunt being like, ha ha ha,
But we were all like,
your last hug from your aunt.
rude.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
For my grandpa, he was cremated, but my aunts, we did spread some of them. He also has a gravestone. It's very extra. So he has a gravestone,
Mhm.
was cremated. We put some of his ashes near his gravestone because they wanted to do a full service for him and have like a stone to like
Yeah.
for memory. Maybe they return and talk to him. I'm not sure. But my aunts also put him in those spinny, like wind chime things,
Oh,
the
yeah,
ones
the
that
ones that
spin.
with the wind. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have one of those with his ashes in there.
Oh,
And then some of them have, he had 5 kids. So the kids have like necklaces that they wear.
no.
It's like, was this a choice or was this his choice? Was he like, put me in a necklace and a spinny thing?
I can't take ashes with me somewhere. I mean, I told my mom and dad that I'm turning them into diamonds, which I could do, but I'm not going to take a piece of someone's ashes and like put it
So
in a
you're
cat.
telling me you can take somebody's ashes and turn them into diamonds?
Yeah, you
What?
can. Yeah,
How?
and
Very interesting.
yeah, it's a thing, and I'm going to do that to my parents. I told them. I said, "I'm like, you're gonna get cremated and turned into diamonds because I'm not spreading anything."
So you're telling me that your dad doesn't want to be buried?
No, cremated.
That must have been a very interesting conversation.
Nah, not really. I mean, like my grandma was cremated, and then we put her in an urn, and then the urn was put in the grave next to my grandfather. So that to me was like, I'm like, why did we cremate her then?
Put her next to.
They had plots next to each other, and they like dig a small
Does
hole.
she have a lid?
Well, yeah,
Okay. I was
it's an
just
urn. She's in an
curious.
urn, and the urn went into the ground. At least as far as I know, the urn went into the ground. I don't think they took the plastic bag out and dropped it in the earth.
Could you imagine? Your aunt's like, I'm gonna keep this
Keep
earth.
this. You could just drop her right in the.
Oh, strange.
I don't know.
Yeah, that is weird that they have two plots next to each other. Was that your aunt's idea?
No. My grandparents they went and found the plots together, and then they're going to be buried together. But we cremated my grandma versus my grandfather, and so they dug.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, grandpa and grandma.
Was the
I
sorry.
don't know if the cremation was planned for grandma. I am unsure. I knew my grandpa was getting buried, period, because
Yeah,
he Catholic open casket. I was expecting the same for my grandma.
stubborn.
Yeah, and I was
Yeah,
expecting the same for my grandma, but cremated. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't ask questions.
interesting.
Yeah,
Anyways, so takeaways from this. What are your takeaways from Veronica Lake's life?
cremated, or have someone ready to pick up your ashes.
Yeah, have a planned.
Yeah.
Although I don't, in her defense, I don't think she was planning on dying of acute hepatitis and acute kidney injury.
Well, I don't think so either. But in the event of death, I feel like you should have your affairs in order. Like I need to
She
get my
was,
affairs in order now, and I'm 34.
yeah, I mean, I should because I'm a kid.
I have someone who I'm going to be marrying. And
Yeah,
I need to have plans in place in case something happens. God forbid.
that is so interesting. I don't think I would have if I didn't have William. I, w- I would have been her, and my ashes would have been left.
Jack
People
would
are
be
like,
there.
who's picking up Andra?
Jack, obviously.
I mean, it's the assumption.
Yeah, but if you actually plan for this, you have to be like, Jack, you have to make sure that you pick me up.
What if, what if stuff happened?
Then you update it.
That's my point. She was early 50s.
I'm in my 30s and I have to plan for this stuff.
All right. So the key takeaway is people plan for your death so you don't accidentally get sold or taken by a fan to an antique store where they're going to do a look-alike
contest.
Yeah.
Here's her ashes. Congratulations.
Yeah. I actually feel like there was an auction for the ashes.
Oh, that's even worse.
I think I read it. Yeah, I think I read it was an auction for the ashes, but they did do like an homage. Wait, how did you say it?
Homage.
Oh, homage to
homage.
her.
Homage. Who cares?
Now I'm like, what did I say? I said homage? No, I didn't. I said homage.
I think you said homage.
You said homage.
Homage.
You, what is it? I don't know. All right. Anyways, that's all we have for today.
Yay! Thank you everybody for joining us on That's Peculiar. We'll catch you again next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on That's Peculiar. Please be sure to leave a comment or review. If you have any peculiar stories you would like to hear, find us at That's Peculiar Pod across social media or email us at perpetuallypeculiarpod@gmail.com.